Hey everyone, welcome back to Coins Numismatic series. If you love tiny pieces of history that carry a big story, stick around for the next minute because I've got a neat little treasure from your pocket change to show you. The 2001 Monticello Jefferson nickel, struck at Philadelphia, mint mark P, in a nice fine grade. I'm going to lead you through everything that makes this 5-cent piece more than just metal, the history that put Jefferson on America's coinage, the artwork and inscriptions, how many were made, what to look for in a fine condition example, what errors and varieties collectors watch for, and what this coin might be worth today. Ready? Let's dive in. Let's start with the backdrop, why this coin exists at all. The Jefferson nickel launched in 1938 as a replacement for the Buffalo nickel, meant to honor Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States and the principal author of the Declaration of Independence. The Monticello reverse, an image of Jefferson's Virginia home, is an explicitly American architectural motif, meant to connect the man's civic achievements to his private life and ideals. For most of the 20th century, the Jefferson nickel became one of the most common circulating coins in everyday commerce, and the Monticello design became instantly familiar because it sat on the reverse of the nickel for decades. By 2001, this was a well-established, everyday coin, but every year and every mint has small differences that make collectors pay attention. Now the look and the artwork. The obverse carries a portrait of Thomas Jefferson. The portrait used on modern nickels is rooted in the original 1938 design. Over the years the obverse has seen subtle modifications by different sculptors and engravers, but the face of Jefferson remains the primary focus. You'll see the standard obverse inscriptions, the country's motto, "In God We Trust," the word, "Liberty," and the date, 2001. The reverse, which gives this series its informal nickname, Monticello, shows the facade of Jefferson's estate, Monticello, complete with its classical portico and dome, an instantly recognizable symbol of Jeffersonian architecture. The mint mark P indicates the coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. In the early 2000s the Philadelphia Mint struck circulation quality nickels and started using the P mint mark more consistently across denominations. Let's talk about the physical specifics. This is a 5-cent coin made of a copper-nickel clad composition, the same core-clad sandwich used since 1965, a pure copper core with outer layers of a copper-nickel alloy. The coin's diameter is 21.21 millimeters and it weighs 5.00 grams, standard nickel dimensions. In hand, a 2001 Jefferson nickel has the familiar slightly silvery sheen of cupronickel, and the Monticello on the reverse has moderate detail. In a fine grade you'll expect the major details of the house and Jefferson's bust to be clear, with moderate wear on the highest points but the overall design still readable and attractive. Inscription-wise, and this matters to collectors who check for full details, you'll find the usual short texts, United States of America, around the top of the reverse, E pluribus unum, and the denomination spelled out as 5 cents at the base. On the obverse you will see, Thomas Jefferson, is not spelled out as text. His name historically does not appear on this obverse, but the combination of inscriptions I mentioned plus the date and mint mark identify the piece quickly. Mintage, where collectors get a sense of scarcity. The 2001 dated Jefferson nickels are very common coins overall. The Philadelphia strike for circulation in 2001 produced millions upon millions of nickels because they were intended for everyday use. That high mintage keeps the common market value modest for typical circulated grades. High-grade uncirculated examples from that year can command small premiums, and coins from special sets, like proof or mint sets, attract collectors. For a coin in fine condition, meaning obvious wear but all major design details still present and the date and mint mark clear, this is generally still a very accessible piece for beginner and intermediate collectors. The prevalence of the 2001 Philadelphia nickel in circulation and in mint sets means you're not looking at a truly rare date. Instead, collector interest focuses on condition, eye appeal, and any unusual die breaks or errors. Condition and grading. You asked about a coin described as fine condition. In common grading terms, fine, abbreviated F, typically corresponds to a grade range where the coin's major features are worn but distinct. For a Jefferson nickel in fine, 12 to fine, 15, Jefferson's hair strands on the obverse are mostly worn. The cheek and jaw of the portrait will be flat in places, but the head and shoulders remain visible. On the reverse, Monticello's roofline, columns, and windows will be visible but softened. Fine still shows the building clearly and the lettering remains readable without difficulty. Why does grade matter? Because collectors prize crispness of strike and level of wear. A coin in fine will be worth more than one in good or about uncirculated, but far less than an extremely fine, EF, or mint state coin. For everyday collecting that wants historical pieces without breaking the bank, a fine condition 2001 P. Jefferson is a pleasing and affordable acquisition. Market value. Here's the practical part collectors always ask about. For common date Jefferson nickels like the 2001 P, a circulated non-error example in fine condition typically trades at a modest premium over face value, often just a few cents to a few dollars, depending on market demand, the seller, and any attractive toning or strike. In other words, this is not a high-value rarity in fine condition. High-grade uncirculated specimens or certified coins from collector sets can fetch higher prices, and proof coins or errors can be significantly more valuable. If you plan to buy or sell, check recent eBay completed listings, dealer price guides, and auction records. Those give the best real-world snapshot of what collectors are paying right now. Remember, prices fluctuate with collector interest and precious metal trends, but because the Jefferson nickel is base metal and common, big swings are rare. Errors and varieties. This is where everyday nickels can suddenly become interesting. Over years of minting, small production mistakes create varieties that attract collector attention: double dies, repunched mint marks, die cracks, off-center strikes, and planchet issues, for example. For the 2001 series, the most common collector interests are in doubling on the obverse or reverse, double die, misplacements of the mint mark, and die breaks producing raised lines or blobs that catch the eye. Errors that materially alter the coin's look, or that can be authenticated and are scarce, can yield noticeable premiums. But be cautious, not every oddity is valuable. Many so-called errors are cleaning marks, circulation damage, or environmental nicks. If you think you have an error coin, have it documented by a reputable third-party grading service or a trusted numismatic dealer before assuming scarcity-based value. Collector interest and how this coin fits a collection. The 2001 Monticello Jefferson nickel with a P mint mark is the sort of date that belongs in multiple types of collections. A type collector, someone assembling one example from each major design, will include it as the standard Monticello era nickel. Date and mint collectors focus on assembling the set of Jefferson nickels by year and mint. A 2001 P in fine condition is part of that checklist. For beginners, this coin is a great educational piece. It's affordable, familiar, and demonstrates standard clad composition and mid-20th/early 21st century American coinage design language. Because it's common, it's also a coin that collectors use to practice grading and to learn how to spot alterations, cleaning, and other market pitfalls. Authentication and purchase tips: always inspect for the date, mint mark, and general surface quality. Buy from reputable dealers or auction houses when possible. For purchase online, detailed photos, obverse and reverse, are essential. Ask about whether the coin has been dipped or cleaned, which reduces value, and check for signs of artificial toning. If you are buying a coin as an investment, keep in mind that common date base metal coins normally appreciate slowly, if at all. Their main value is collectible enjoyment rather than dramatic financial gain. For a collector, though, this coin's affordability makes it a low-risk way to expand a folder or album. Storage and preservation. Because the Jefferson nickel is a copper-containing coin, it can develop toning or verdigris if stored improperly. Keep coins in inert holders, mylar flips, archival-quality coin envelopes, or airtight tubes, and avoid PVC-containing plastics that can degrade surfaces over time. For a fine-condition coin, the goal is to preserve that condition. Additional cleaning is strongly discouraged because cleaning damages the surface and typically reduces numismatic value. Handle by the edges, keep in a stable low-humidity environment, and label holders with date, mint, and grade for future reference. Narrative possibility. Beyond the technical details, every coin has a small human story. Imagine a 2001 nickel that passed from hand to hand over 2 decades. It paid for a soda, a bus fare, a lucky parking meter. It lived in pockets, purses, register drawers, and coin jars before a collector pulled it out, noticed that the Monticello still showed clean lines and the date was crisp, and decided to preserve it. For many collectors, that human arc, an ordinary object elevated by attention and care, is the real attraction of numismatics. Comparative perspective. How does a 2001 P fine nickel compare to other Jefferson nickels? Older dates, especially scarce mintages or wartime nickels with different metal composition, are far more collectible and valuable. So when placing the 2001 nickel in your collection, treat it as an accessible connecting piece. It helps complete your runs, serves as a reference for grading practice, and occasionally yields pleasant surprises if you're patient and inspect rolls of change. Some collectors create focused sub-collections, mint mark runs, condition census pieces, or error coin groups, and the 2001 P fits nicely into each. Final thoughts and call to action for your channel audience. The 2001 Monticello Jefferson nickel with mint mark P in fine condition is a neat, attainable piece of numismatic history. It represents tradition, the long-running Jefferson/Monticello motif, and everyday Americana. If you're building a collection, it's an economical, satisfying pick that rewards careful inspection. If you're new, pick one up, examine it under a loupe, compare it to grading photos, and grow your confidence spotting details. If you think you found an unusual strike or error, document it, photograph it carefully, and consult trusted resources or a grading service for authentication. Thanks for sticking with me through this deep dive into a coin many people overlook. If you enjoyed this look at the 2001 Monticello Jefferson nickel, hit subscribe for more episodes in the Coins Numismatic series, where we unroll ordinary coins and reveal their stories. Drop a comment below if you found interesting nickels in your pocket change, or if you want me to examine a specific mint year or error in a future episode.